Okay, I'm live. I'm live. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm excited to be live with you all this week, and I'm excited for this topic because it is just obviously one of my favorite things to talk about. So, welcome, welcome. If you're just hopping on, say hello. Let me know you're here so I can say hi to you. So, let's see. We are talking about manifesting in the quantum field and we're talking about changing your energy. So, let's just see. Quick energy update. I feel like this week was a little bit hairy for some people. There was a lot of energy moving. I know astrologically we were dealing with the Mars Venus Pluto conjunction, and Pluto is I have to say, like, my favorite planet because it's all about the death and destruction and rebirth. And being a Scorpio, I'm pretty much obsessed with like death and rebirth. I was just joking. I just recorded a really awesome podcast episode with Dr. Robin McKay. And if you guys don't know her, you need to. She's really awesome. But I was joking about how I forget that not everyone is obsessed with huge transformation, because I am, and I just don't understand how other people wouldn't be. so, um, so yeah, I love Pluto because it's all about the big transformations. And so we had Mars and Venus, who is like the masculine and the feminine relationships. Um, Come together in a conjunction with Pluto, and Pluto is kind of like going to sweep through and destroy and dismantle everything so it can be completely reborn and rebuilt. So I think when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, and especially our relationship with ourselves, we are seeing the ways that we can completely dismantle and transform the way that we interact with ourselves, actually, so that we can create a different experience of our reality, which is what I've been working with a lot of people to do. And the reason why I bring this up is because this goes incredibly perfectly with the topic for today. Because when it comes to having these profound transformations and manifesting in the quantum field and changing your energy, what we're really doing is we are changing the way we relate to ourselves and our own energy. Because in order to really claim self sovereignty and take your power back, you have to learn how to change your energy and work with your own energy. So, again, if you're just popping on, say hello so I can say hi to you. Hi, Easter. How are you? Um, okay, good. So, how do we change our energy, right? Well, it starts with our relationship with ourself, and it starts with self-awareness. I've been reflecting a lot on my own growth in the last year, and kind of like, well, like, what was the thing, right? Like, what was the thing that helped propel me forward? And I really think a lot of it has to do with self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is the biggest tool that we can have when it comes to transformation, is actually being aware of like what we're doing and what's going on. And sometimes it can be really challenging, right? And I think a lot of us come up against things where we're like, why is this happening to me, right? And we kind of feel like we're stumped, like we don't know why this is happening. And we need someone to kind of step in and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and I think why this is happening. And then it ignites a light bulb for you around your own self-awareness, where you're like, oh shit, I am doing that and I didn't even really notice, right? Because it's a lot harder to see it within yourself. So that self-awareness is such a huge piece in how we manifest, because if we have blocks and we're not aware of them, then we can't move through them in order to change our energy and in order to manifest in the quantum field. So, how do we cultivate that? Oh, hi, Nadia. How do we cultivate that self awareness, right? And there's a few ways, right? And I always suggest that people start doing breath work. And if you haven't started breath work yet, then you should definitely get the free breath work that's available when you sign up for my email list. it's breath work, meditation, and journaling prompts that you receive. It's like a little teaser into the tools that you get when you work with me. And that's a great way to begin to cultivate self awareness, because with breath work, you are accessing the subconscious mind, right? And a lot of what we're seeing in our life, result wise, is a projection of our subconscious mind and what we unconsciously or subconsciously believe to be true about ourselves and the world is what we will create. But a lot of times we're not even aware of what that stuff is because it is living in our subconscious mind. So aside from having a person like me who will easily be able to see what's in your subconscious and point it out to you, it's also helpful to do breath work so you can access some of that on your own and start to see some of those things on your own so that you can start to make new decisions and you can start to choose out of it. And you can't do that unless you have that awareness, right? So one of the biggest ways that we change our energy is to have that self-awareness, to notice that we need to change our energy at all, right? And this is something I was talking about earlier when it comes to trauma, because you all know that my biggest gift is that I help you move through trauma in order to be able to manifest, because you can't manifest if you have trauma, and we all have trauma. But the thing is, you have to be aware that you have it, right? So how do you know if you have it? Well, we all have it. But if you are wanting to create something, you're wanting to call something into your life and it's not showing up for you, then chances are, most likely, there's no chance, it's the truth, is that you have some level of trauma or a trauma response that is blocking you from receiving that thing that you called in, because the universe wants to give it to you, right? When you say, universe, I want to manifest a new relationship, for example, or more money, or success in my business, or whatever it is, the universe wants to give that to you. And what the universe will do is it will show you what is between you and getting that thing. So to you, it looks like things aren't working. It looks like you're blocked, but really you're just being shown what is standing between you and getting that thing. And then it's your job to move through it and to have the emotional awareness to move through it, to understand what's happening and move through it, which is not easy to do, right? And this is at the crux of what I do with people, is I help them recognize what blocks are surfacing for them, and then guiding them to move through it, and then also empowering them with the tools so they can recognize it for themselves in the future and move through it on their own in the future, using the tools that I give you that you will have for life, right? The breath work, the meditation, all of that stuff. So the point is that you start to have that awareness of that thing that is holding you back, which looks like it's just something that's in your way, right? Well, for example, it might be like, well, all the wrong people keep showing up. But what's really happening is that part of you that is in that pattern or dynamic that relates in that specific way, that person is showing up to reflect that back to you so that you can shift that, so you can start to attract the person that you want, right? Or for example, say you're starting a new business and you're not getting any clients. The reason why you're not getting any clients is because maybe you don't feel safe, and you have to go in and do the work to start to feel safe in your body so that you can start to open up and receive, right? So when it looks like it's not working, it's actually just that you're being shown what you need to look at, heal, and alchemize so that that thing can come to you, right? So let me know if this is making sense. And if you are watching, please say hi. Okay. So changing our energy, what does that entail? Well, there's the self-awareness piece, right? To know that we even have to change our energy. And then there's the piece around acceleration. Now, the acceleration piece is a huge part of my work, where we are accelerating growth. We are accelerating the process. So, what maybe would have taken you, I don't know, a year to create, or if you created it all, would now take you, I don't know, a month, right? Because we're accelerating the process. And the way that we do that is we pinpoint exactly what is at the deepest level, exactly what is holding you back from stepping into that thing immediately. So that's why a lot of the work that I do happens in the quantum, because once we clear that thing on the deepest energetic level possible, then it's like, boom, things just start to work because we've cleared it on the deepest energetic level possible. So we don't have to go through all of the stories and the this happened and the that happened. If we're able to pinpoint it on the deepest possible energetic level, whether it's like something that happened when you were in the womb or an ancestral trauma or even a past life trauma, when we clear that energy at the core where it began, then everything just completely dismantles and you're able to step into that thing instantly. That's why people will have like these instant manifestations after we do an energy work session, because when we clear that thing at the core, then it clears and there's nothing standing in the way between you and manifesting that thing that you want. So the acceleration piece is really, really key because it makes everything go so much faster. That's why my program, the Quantum Accelerator, is just that. We accelerate the energy, right? So everything starts to happen boom, 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 fast, fast, fast. So that is a huge piece of the methodology, is the acceleration piece, right? And then we have the calibration, right? So then I'm giving you all these tools, and this is where we change our energy, right? So the breath work, like I mentioned. And if you haven't tried that, I definitely recommend trying that, because I have done a lot of different work and I've tried a lot of different modalities, and breath work seems to be the one that gives you the most momentum, right? So the reason why is because you're moving energy. You're moving energy in the body. So that stuck energy, those things that I'm talking about that are standing in the way of you getting to where you want to be, they start to break up and dissipate from the body. So for example, say something happened when you were younger and you made a decision that you could not or would not or do not feel safe in this world. You do not feel safe in this world. You do not feel safe in your body, right? And it could have been anything. You could have, your parent could have like yelled at you, or you could have been in a car accident, or you saw your parents fighting, or you were blamed for something that wasn't your fault, or you saw that your parent was not able to emotionally support you. Whatever it is, you made this decision that you didn't feel safe, and then you're perpetually playing that out, not feeling safe in your body. You keep playing that out and you keep feeling that way. But when we clear that, when we go in and clear that out, then all of a sudden you feel safe in your body and it's easier for you to receive. And when we use the breath work, you're able to clear out that stuck energy, that feeling of not feeling safe that's being held in your body, that literally holds a chemical signature in your cells. When you use the breath work, it releases it, it clears it out gradually. So all of a sudden you'll start to feel like completely different. And it's so interesting. I have a client who we've been working together one-on-one now for 4 months, I guess. And we got on a call today and she said to me, for the first time ever in my life, I feel safe. And this is somebody who has had a lot of abuse and neglect in her past. She has been through a lot of trauma. And not to say you need to have been through a lot of trauma in order to not feel safe, because I think there's a level on this planet that we all don't feel safe, right? So we're all, I see this with almost everyone I work with, that in order to get to the next level financially, in relationship, or just even with your own relationship with yourself, you have to deal with the ways in which you don't feel safe in your body, because we all have that, right? But anyway, so she came to me with a lot of trauma and she was very stuck and her life was not working. Everything seemed very difficult for her. And there was a lot of ways where she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel safe in her relationship. She didn't feel safe in her home. She didn't feel safe in her job. And, this was 4 months ago. And I got on the call with her today. And she was like, Alyse, you know what? For the first time ever in my life, I feel completely safe. She's like, I know that everything is going to work out. She's like, I'm excited about my life. And she's like, and I know I have these really powerful gifts to share. And I'm going to get emotional like talking about this, because this is somebody who went from literally feeling like her life was completely out of control and that she didn't have anybody to rely on and that nothing was working, to now I've never felt before this sense of safety in my body. And I said to her, I said, you know what? Because a lot of times we like to focus on the outward manifestations. And believe me, my clients get a ton of outward manifestations, whether it's relationship wise, financially, business wise, all of the things. But for somebody to create a deep level of safety in their body, you can't put a price tag on that, because that is literally living and engaging in the world in a completely different way, where you start to experience a level of miracles that you wouldn't ever experience unless you felt that sense of safety. And things just start to work, things just start being in flow because you're coming from that space. That is the energy that you're emanating from you. And that's what you start to receive back. Because literally all you are doing is you're literally like an antenna. That's why in all my energy work sessions, I will literally tune your body like an antenna to your highest frequency so that you now draw to you the perfect people, situations, and experiences to contribute to your highest timeline, to contribute to the highest version of you. So your body is literally an antenna emitting a frequency. And then everything that you're getting back, everything that you're experiencing is a reflection of that frequency, of that energy that you're putting out there. So once you feel this deep level of safety in your body, once you feel this deep level of flow, this deep level of ease, this knowing, this trust, then everything you experience in your life is a reflection of that. So all of a sudden you're attracting situations and experiences and people into your life that are showing you how safe you feel, how abundant you are, how miraculous things are, how supported you are. And then you are free to open up to a new level of expressing who you really are and the gifts that you came here to share. Because basically everyone who's attracted to my work has very high level spiritual gifts. I've never worked with anyone who doesn't. So if you're listening to me right now and you're attracted to my work, it means that you do. And if you don't know what those are, or you have an idea but you're not sure how to get to them, it's because that you just haven't gone deep into your trauma yet, so you can clear that out in order to express it. Or you might know what they are, but you want to move to the next level with sharing them because you know there's more, and there's always more, right? There's always more. There's always more expansion. There's always more growth. There's always more that you can contribute. And if you're here listening, you came here to contribute something. But when you get to that level of safety through doing this work and using these tools and the acceleration and the calibration, then you're free to create using those gifts that you came here to use. Because a lot of what we're doing is we are, oh, thank you, Nadia, is we are literally coming here, and in the work that we're doing, we are activating a great remembering of who you really are and why you came here. And my guides show me that all the time. And they make me do that in every single energy work session that I lead, whether it be for a private client or in a group. We activate a great remembering of who you really are and why you came here. And it happens, right? And people start having these crazy activations and rememberings of what they came here to do and the gifts that they are meant to share. Whether or not they knew already or not, it activates on a deeper level and something opens up on a deeper level. So that is really how we shift our own energy, is we accelerate our growth by pinpointing exactly what is the block, exactly what's standing in between us and getting where we want to go. Then we use the tools to calibrate, the breath work, the energy work. And then we open up our gifts and we start to create exactly what we want through our gifts that are available to us. So I hope that was clear. I know it's kind of a lot. but yeah, so the other thing I just want to mention right now is I do have a few spaces to work with me one-on-one. And this is really the way that I'm working with people one-on-one right now is very high level. And it's for that person who's really wanting to go all in and create a completely new way of living. And this is for the woman who knows that she's ready to go to the next level, and she's ready to go on a deep dive with me, because I take you on a deep dive, and we see exactly what is holding you back from creating your next level. And we deeply go through shifting it, accelerating that growth, identifying it, accelerating, and then calibrating your energy to your next level. And we go deep, but it happens quickly. And all the women I'm working with now, one on one, are having these like crazy, miraculous transformations and shifts in their businesses, in the money they're bringing in their relationships, and just the access that they have to their gifts and their abilities just completely skyrockets when we use the tools and you're in my energy and we start to calibrate to this new frequency. So I have a few spaces available right now. So just reach out to me and we can talk about if it's a fit for you. It is a 6-month container because I want to be there for you to create a really lasting, really large transformation. So that's what this container is about. It's for that woman who really wants to like go big or go home. That's what my energy is like. Like, ever since I started my business, I've been going hard nonstop, which is why I've had the success that I've had. So this is for the woman who wants to like work like that, who's ready to jump in with both feet, who's ready to really claim an entire new way of living on this planet and feeling differently within yourself so that you start to experience the world in a completely new way. It's more ease, it's more flow, it's more magic, it's more miracles, and it's understanding yourself and your gifts in a completely new way and starting to share in a completely new way, and then starting to receive abundance, money, love in just a way that you never have before. So if this is something that you are feeling drawn to, then reach out to me and we can chat about if it's a fit for you. You can also apply through my website under the Work With Me tab at alysebreathes.com. But at the very least, definitely try my breath work if you haven't already, because that's kind of the first step in starting to really work with your own energy and gain access to the subconscious, like I was talking about before. So that is about all I have for you today. I will be back next Friday with another energy forecast, and stay tuned throughout the week because I'll be doing some updates this week as to what is going on energetically and astrologically. There's a lot going on as well, and I'm usually up to date on that. So stay tuned, and please reach out to me if you are thinking about stepping into this work, and if you wanted to do it at a different level, we can always talk about that too, because I like to do what works for people for where they're at. So definitely reach out to me about that. And I'm sending you guys lots of love. Have an amazing weekend, and I will talk to you soon.